You're the guy people call when they need a helping hand, moving furniture, unloading a truck. But lately, your shoulder's been acting up, and you're the one who's calling for help. And that's the moment you realize you can no longer shoulder the load.
The Joint and Spine Center is Cincinnati's leading destination for orthopedic care, with a range of surgical and non-surgical treatments. So when a moment has the power to change the rest of your life, go to the one place with the power to change it for the better, the Christ Hospital Health Network. This changes everything.
The Pound This podcast is brought to you by the Christ Hospital Health Network. This is the Pound This podcast, episode 542, Non-Scale Victories.
I want to lose weight, but I don't know how to get started.
What should I meal prep every week?
How do I get those sweet booty gains?
Inspiration for your healthy lifestyle. The Pound This Podcast with Amanda Valentine.
Hey there, homies. Thank you so much for listening to the Pound This podcast. I'm Amanda Valentine. A little bit of backstory about me, if you're brand new here, is I have lost over 100 pounds after being obese for most of my life and then spending over a decade of yo-yo dieting. And then I made some lifestyle changes, part of a New Year's resolution, started eating better, moving my body more, ditched doing diets, and I've lost over 100 pounds, and I've maintained. My journey's been about 8.5 years now. If you want to know more of the specifics, there's lots of podcast episodes that you can go back and dig into. But what I'm all about now is helping you on your journey. I'm still on mine, but I want to give you all the tools and resources to help you on your journey to become healthier. And one of the big tools that has been such a big success of my own weight loss journey has been my meal prepping. And I've been a meal prepper for over 7 years now, but I know not everybody wants to spend all that time cooking and doing dishes, which is why I'm so excited to be partnered with Freshly, because Freshly does all of that cooking for you, none of them dishes, and they deliver all the meal prep right to your house. And they all taste delicious. Trust me, I have eaten my fair share of Freshly meals. Delish. They're low in sugar. There's fewer processed foods, which I'm all about eating those real foods. There's more nutrients. Plus, you only pay between $7.99 and $11.50 per meal. So if you break that down, that's a good deal. Whenever you can get everything delivered right to your door, you're not paying all those surcharges as if you're going out to eat and doing takeout all the time. So if you're looking for a more convenient way to get healthier foods into your lifestyle, then you should check out Freshly. And you can use my code to save $15 on your first week of Freshly. Just go to tryfreshly.com/Amanda Valentine. I have the link right in the show notes. So if you want to try out some meal prep and wash your hands of doing all those dishes and cooking, then try out Freshly. Full disclosure, #sponsored. But we should get into today's episode. So let's go ahead and get into it. Thank you so much for listening to the Pound This podcast. Let's talk about non-scale victories, because if you've ever been on a weight loss journey, you know how much the scale sucks and how the scale can totally make or break your day, which I think is, man, me and the scale have so many ups and downs. And I think it's so, pun intended, it's dangerous to put all of your wins on the number when there's so many other wins. I mean, we're not even going to go into like measurements or anything like that, or, your body fat percentage. That's not even what we're talking about here about non-scale victories, but those are such a good marker of success, more so than the scale. Also, progress pictures. Definitely take pictures. I know it's uncomfortable, and this is something I'm saying to myself. I'm so horrible with pictures, but take them pictures. That's a good way to track progress versus the scale. But if we're going to talk about some non-scale victories, some things that to celebrate, to be excited about, other than just that number going down, there is a long ass list. And I was just writing out a list to record this podcast. I'm like, my goodness, is this long? And of course people have, some of things that are different from person to person. Like one of my big non-scale victories for me was, I did an episode of this podcast, was before I started losing weight, I tried to go to the Colorado sand dunes, which are amazing, by the way. And I went and I'm like, I'm just going to go to the top to take pictures. And I just could not make it. It was too hard. I gave up and I'm like, nah, turned right back around and went home. And so after I have lost weight and got healthy, like last year, my husband and I went back and I got to the top and I recorded a podcast at the top. Like that's one of those things that is a bigger victory for me than just losing the weight. Of I was healthier. I'm in such a better mindset of like, no, I gave up before. I'm not giving up this time. Let's go. That is a huge win for me in my book. But there's so many things that are smaller than that too. And some of the things I wrote down to focus on and, to really think about these things and take them as wins, because as small as they are wins. Like things like just having clearer skin, like less breakouts, like just noticing how your skin changes or how your face looks. That's a huge non-scale victory. Also, if you have like brighter eyes, I've noticed about that too, just seem clearer, like you're more awake. Of course, obviously your clothes fitting better. And I'm not talking about going from like a size 24 to a size 4 of just like, I just feel more comfortable in my clothes. And that's something for me that when I notice people doing it, it just rips on my heart, because I felt that way before. When you see people tugging at their shirt, and you might do this too, and I still do sometimes, where you just feel like, it's clinging to my belly fat, and you're all like in your own head. And I would constantly tug at my clothes, and I don't do that anymore. And it's one of those things I kind of forget about until I see someone else doing it, and I'm like, it's just brings me right back, and it just makes me feel so uncomfortable. And and that couldn't even be what that person is going through. But to me, it's triggering to me of that's how I used to be. So the fact that I just don't even feel so uncomfortable in my own clothes, and I'm constantly tugging at it and worrying about it, is a huge victory for me. No matter what the size clothes are, is I feel more comfortable in it. So I think that's something to focus on. Also, just rings fitting better. I had to have my wedding ring resized, and that was pretty cool. Also, I went down in a shoe size, like stuff like that too, where I'm like, I didn't know my feet were so freaking fat, but okay. I'm like, I'll fit into a smaller shoe. I still have like huge, like big caveman feet, but I did not expect it all to like go down in a shoe size. But stuff like that where you're like, whoa, that's kind of cool. Just feeling less bloated. I'm like, I know, and I was just eating like crap before. Like you just even think about all the bathroom stuff of like getting diarrhea more often, spending more time in the bathroom, like just being dehydrated, of just those small things of how your body is just kind of operating better, that you have less joint pain or swelling, or just thinking about that your knees feel better. Like these are things that like you don't have to be like, I lost X amount of weight. Like you may just be like, my knees don't ache when I get out of bed in the morning. That's freaking huge. That's so much better than a number on a scale. And looking younger, I know so many people that have been on weight loss journeys, including myself, look so much younger. And it's not just because of the weight loss. It's just being healthier, of healthier choices, and just being in a different mindset and loving yourself more. I'm like, God, I look like I was 45 when I was at my 8th grade graduation. Like I look younger now being almost 40 versus I did when I was in 8th grade. That's wackadoo, right? But I'm just in such a different space. You know what I mean? It's kind of crazy how you kind of like, Benjamin Buttons and go backwards, but that's just all on taking care of yourself. So that's a huge win. Also, just think about like less heartburn, acid reflux. That kind of goes back into those bathroom issues. Also just being less fatigued, more energy. Like I know for me doing morning shows for so long, working in radio, when I was at some of my unhealthiest, I would come home and nap in the afternoon, but my nap would be like 4 hours. So I'd get home from work, and then I would eat a ton, and then I would sleep all afternoon, wake up just feeling like garbage. And just like, I would just be tired all the time. I never wanted to do anything. Like even little stuff is like, as much as I say this out loud now, and I'm like, God, Amanda, but like, I didn't even want to just like pick stuff off the floor. And not that I like lived in a trash heap or anything, but it was just like, even the just thought of like, I don't want to bend over and pick that up. Like, oh, damn, that's the headspace I lived a lot of my life in, is like, I don't even want to pick something up off the floor. I'll just let it sit there forever. to just now of like, just, I don't know, just pick it up. And again, it's not this huge thing. It's not like pick up a weight or do a deadlift or anything. It's like picking a sock up off the floor. You know what I mean? Like that to me is just such a win in how I live my life. And also just focus, if you're happier, you're more optimistic, you have a brighter outlook on things, that your just mental health is improved. I think that's the things that we don't focus on day to day, because we do get hung up on the scale, or do I have abs and everything else, of like, are you just in a better place? Are you just feeling better? Do you feel just different? And also just kind of go think of things of like, you have less cravings than you used to. Then just just think of the wins of just your behaviors around food, and if they've, improved, and those are all freaking wins, is having a better relationship with food and your body and your mental health, better sleep. I know so many people that have gotten off sleep apnea machines from losing weight and just making healthier choices. Like that is an awesome non-scale victory. Or just getting off medications. Huge non-scale victory. A lot of people said that. I did a poll on Instagram, and my hand raised on this one too, that an airport seatbelt fitting. Oh, hell yeah. I mean, for me, I was right at the point where I was right teetering the edge of needing a seatbelt extension. And I'm like, I don't want to ask for this. And you're just, tell me if you feel me on this, but where I was like, it's like, I knew for me that was bad and embarrassing, but it still wasn't the like light bulb that's like, go change your life then. Oh, well, just, start eating broccoli, Amanda. Like, it's like it was embarrassing and I felt horrible about it, but it's still, I still like ate my cookies and drank a Dr. Pepper on the flight. You know what I mean? I'm like, it was just like, this bums me out a lot, but I'm not going to change it right now. So it's kind of weird how that works. But the fact now that when I get on a plane, which not in 2020, but anytime I've gotten on a plane in the past couple of years, of like, not only do I not need a seatbelt extender, but I have all this extra seatbelt room. I'm like, that feels cool. From going into being on a flight and feeling so self-conscious, and then feeling in my own head, because again, we all tell ourselves these stories of like the people sitting next to me, they're like, oh my God, I'm next to the fat chick, and she's like, I'm going to take up my room. Or like, that's all just me being horrible to myself. And thinking of those things, of not thinking about that on a plane, or can I walk down the aisle? Like, I still find myself doing things of like, going through like a turnstile or something like that, or going down an aisle, or thinking I'm like, I'm not going to be able to fit in between those things. And my God, I've been on my weight loss journey for 8.5 years. And it's weird how that stuff just like lives inside of you. And to think of like, oh, I can sit in a booth at a restaurant and my stomach isn't dragging the table anymore. For me, that's a non-scale victory. That's awesome. Or not even having to think about it or to worry about it is a huge freaking win. Also, another one I had a lot of comments on is just like bra size. I know a lot of us get bummed out about the cup size going down. Same. But just to think of, going from like a 42 to a 38, like, is like, oh my God, like my bra fits better. You don't have, I'm like, oh, I still have, where, you've got like the skin or the rolls popping over the bra, but it's like, just that kind of feels better, and be less self-conscious about that. For me, a huge non-scale victory was wearing a belt. I had never worn a belt in my life until 2015. So that was exciting for me to wear a belt. And I think I've told this story on this podcast before, but I actively got offered a job at Best Buy at one point, and I did not take it, mostly because I didn't want to have to tuck my shirt in. I was so self-conscious about wearing khakis and then tucking my shirt in and putting my fupa out on like full display. I'm like, I don't know if I could do that. It wasn't the job. It wasn't Best Buy. It was all me and my own body image, and I didn't want to tuck a shirt in. So like, for me to like be able to tuck shirts in, and not only just because I feel like my body is the proper size for it or whatever, but to feel feel good about it myself and be in a headspace where I'm like, yeah, I can tuck a shirt in. Yeah, I can wear a belt and feel good about it. Like that for me is a huge win. It's also fun with belts too, whenever you get to take them in a notch. Like that's always like a good indicator and kind of a fun thing to do for me of, yeah, I've built my own holes in a lot of belts. Actually almost all of my belts are from Goodwill. And then I just like stab new holes in them. Although I'm going nowhere near a belt while I'm in quarantine. I have not put on jeans. So actually, you know what? I don't know if I put on jeans in 2020 at all. Oh, and that's a dangerous game too, right? Just like constantly wearing stretchy pants. Anywho, that's a whole nother topic. Another great non-scale victory is doing stairs without getting out of breath. Just focusing on progress of lifting weights and lifting heavier and feeling stronger is such a better indicator too of like your own wellness journey than the number on the scale of like, am I getting stronger? Then like I'm lifting these heavy weights and I didn't think I could do this. Or I still can't, but like to do like an unassisted pull up or do more push-ups than ever before or anything like that. Or, get into, yoga poses that you could never get into before. Somebody wrote to 100% with you of being able to cross your legs comfortably. Like I never could cross my legs. Like it was just not a thing for me. And once I started losing weight, like that was really exciting for me that I could cross my legs. And then it became such a problem that I crossed my legs so much that it has caused some hip issues for me, but that's just me and my whacked body. But that's an exciting one too. Like I remember the first time I lost weight, my first big crash diet where I lost 60 pounds and then gained it back. I remember being in my boss's office and I crossed my legs and being like, oh my God, I can cross my legs. So that's a cool one. I think so anyway, for me anyway. Also some good, I'm just going off a list here because I wrote this all out yesterday. More non-scale victories are just like having step goals, like the same thing with the weight and the strength of like, hey, I walked further than before, or if you're training for a 5K or doing any sort of running, but even if not that, of just like, hey, I went from doing nothing to hitting 10,000 steps a day. That's a huge win. That's freaking awesome. Also, for me personally, some other big non-scale victories are fitting into one leg of my old pair of jeans. That's pretty exciting. And also another one for me, speaking of jeans, is when I do wear jeans, which I did a lot pre-2020, is not rubbing holes through the thighs, if you know what I'm talking about. So like I would just murder jeans because the inner thigh, because I got that chub rub real bad. I mean, I still do, but that I would just shred and tear apart the inner thighs of all my jeans. So the fact that doesn't happen anymore is also pretty exciting for me. So I'm hoping that you're listening to this episode and it can give you some ideas or things to focus on, especially if you're having issues with the scale and you're frustrated because I'm telling you, especially if you're in a plateau and hey, we're in a world that is upside down right now and there's a lot of outside stresses. And if you're like me, stress makes me put on the weight because not only do I stress eat, but just being stressed in general, like I just hold on to everything. Like I am just a giant freaking knot that holds weight when I'm stressed or anxious or have anxiety. So if you're having that sort of experience in the times that we're living in, again, focus on some of these better things. Focus on something else that are wins. Think about the wins that you've already had or have some of these as goals of just like, I want to have clear skin. Like I want to kind of clear up some of these bowel issues or whatever. Like these are just really good goals to have to feel better and feel good in your own body. So I hope this episode has helped you. If it has, please share with anybody you would feel like this is also helpful with. If you could write a review or rate this on iTunes, that would be absolutely amazing and very helpful for me. And I got a lot of fun stuff going on my website. If you want to check it out, AmandaValentineBites.com. So I have my meal prep cookbook there. If you're looking to some meal prepping, it's 16 recipes, all with full videos showing you how to make them. Also, you can get my Bite This Bagel seasoning, which is amazing on freaking everything. The Amanda Valentine Bites coffee with Coffee Emporium. And also there's some information going up there soon about my health coaching, which I'm very, very excited about. And of course, always follow me on Instagram at You Can Pound This. And I appreciate you listening, and I hope you have a great day. Talk to you later.